Sarah from Totally Stitch Craft, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Lacey Flower Crochet Bolero. We're going to make this in two pieces starting at the cuffs and then sew the back together for a finished piece. Now I'm using a Mohair yarn and it's blended with Alpaca. This is a size 5 bulky yarn and I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. I'll also be using a pair of scissors and later on a tapestry needle. I just wanted to show you a quick diagram here. We'll be making two sleeves. Both are exactly the same and we'll sew them together to make our finished piece at the end. I'm going to start out with a slip knot here and then I'm going to chain 11 stitches. And then when I work back the other way, I'm going to have 10 single crochet stitches working back the other way, and that's going to be the length of our cuffs, which are created with our ribbing here. So let's chain 11 chains and then I'm going to pull out a little bit more yarn here. And then working back the other way, I'm going to put my first single crochet in the second loop from the hook and place a single crochet in there. And then place one single crochet in every stitch back along this side. Once I reach the other end, I'm going to chain one and turn my work, and then in the first stitch I'm going to place a regular single crochet into this stitch. And this is how I'm going to start every row in the cuff. So a regular single crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm going to be doing a back loop single crochet. So I'm just going to stick my hook through the back loop of the stitch below and make my single crochet. I'm going to do that in the next 8 stitches, and then in the 10th stitch I'm going to again place a regular single crochet just like I did at the beginning, and that's going to give our cuff a really nice border and it's going to be easier to stitch into it when we sew it together and start our sleeve. So I'm just reaching the end here, and then I'm going to place a regular single crochet into this last stitch. And then I will chain one and turn my work, and now I'm just going to repeat that same pattern, and I'm going to do that for a total of 35 rows. So I will meet you back here when you've got all 35 rows. Now that I have 35 rows, I can take my cuff and fold it in half, and then I'm going to be seaming together these stitches. So I'm going to stick my crochet hook through the first stitch on each row and then slip stitch that. So I'm not single crocheting, I'm just pulling up a loop and then pulling that loop through my other loop on the hook. And I'm just going to be grabbing one side of each of these stitches here and slip stitching them together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for this whole row, and I'll show you what to do when we reach the top. I'm at the top here and I just slip stitched through those last stitches, and I'm going to chain one, and then to the left I am going to begin my row of single crochets, and this is going to give me a foundation to start the cuff. So I'm just placing one single crochet into each space alongside of every row that I did. So at the end of this I'll have 35 single crochets around the cuff, and then we can start with our lace flower design. When I get to the last single crochet in this row, I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet and I'm going to chain 5. After chaining 5, I'm going to chain one more to make it 6, and then I'm going to skip 2 stitches and place a triple crochet into the third stitch. So I yarn over twice, insert my hook into the stitch, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 more. Then I will chain 3 and place one more triple crochet into that same stitch that I was just working into. Now we're going to work our first petal, so I'm going to chain 5, which will count as our first triple crochet stitch, and then I'm going to do my triple crochet bobble stitch. So I'm going to start a triple crochet here and not finish it, and then put one more in this same place. So this is the first stitch from the chain 5, and I'm just going to leave those on my hook for now. We'll come back and finish them. I'm going to skip 2 stitches and place 3 triple crochets into the next stitch, but this is another bobble stitch, so I'm not going to finish those. I'm just going to leave that last loop on my hook. And then I'm going to skip 4 stitches, and in the 5th stitch I'm going to place another triple crochet bobble stitch. So that's 3 more triple crochets into the same stitch. All of them, I'm not finishing them. So I'm going to have 9 loops on my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to pull through all 9 of those and then chain 5 more. And this is how we're going to make the bottom of the flower. Then I'm going to place another triple crochet here, not finished, and a second one, and then pull through all 3 loops on my hook, and that completes the base of our first flower. I'm going to skip 2 stitches and place a single triple crochet in the 3rd stitch, chain 3, and place 1 more triple crochet into that same stitch. Now I'm going to work on another flower. So it's going to be the same exact thing we just did, and it's going to look exactly the same. Alright, I'm going to chain 5, and in that first chain I'm going to place 2 incomplete triple crochets. So I'm just going to do the first part and leave a loop on my hook. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. I will skip 2 stitches, and in the 3rd stitch I'm going to be placing 3 triple crochets to make my bobble stitch, but I'm going to leave their loops on my hook and leave them incomplete. And then I'm going to skip 4 stitches, and in the 5th stitch I'm going to place another triple crochet bobble stitch, incomplete. So we'll put 3 triple crochets in here, and then again we'll have 9 loops on our hook. Pull through all of those loops, chain 5, and now we're doing our last part of the petal. So back into that first chain we'll put 1 triple crochet not finished and another, and then we'll have 3 loops on the hook and pull through all 3, then chain 1, skip 2 stitches, place a triple crochet in here, chain 3, and place 1 more triple crochet into that same stitch. Now it's time to do our last flower for the round, and it's the same thing again. So you can skip ahead, but I'll just show you how I do it one more time. We're going to go ahead and go back into that first chain that we just made and pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 more, but leave that last loop on our hook. And then skip 2 stitches again here. In the 3rd stitch we'll place those 3 triple crochet stitches, again leaving those last loops on our hook. And then skip those 4 stitches. In the 5th stitch we're going to place another triple crochet bobble stitch, again leaving those loops on our hook so we can pull through them all at once. And I'll turn my hook to the very bottom and pull through. Then we chain 5 and we'll complete our flower petal here by doing our last triple crochet bobble stitch. And when we pull through these 3 loops we are going to chain 1. And now, since I'm back at the beginning, I'm going to count to my 5th chain that I made and slip stitch to join. And that is our first round. Then we chain 5 more. So once I've got this chain 5, I'm ready to flip my work back the other way, and I'm going to do another triple crochet bobble stitch into the middle of this flower here. I'm going to yarn over twice, pull through the first 2 and the second 2 loops, and then put another triple crochet in here, and then a 3rd triple crochet in here, and then I'll pull through all the loops on my hook, chain 3, and now I'm going to place my final triple crochet bobble stitch into the center of this flower, and that will complete our first flower here. So that's 3 triple crochets, pull through all of the loops on the hook, chain 1. And I'm actually going to chain a total of 7. So we do the chain 1 to finish off and then chain 6 more. Now in between these 2 triple crochets that make a V, I'm going to place a single crochet, and chain 7 more. And now I can finish the top of my next flower. So it's the same thing. We do our 2 triple crochet bobble stitches separated by a chain 3 in between. So here is my first triple crochet bobble stitch. We chain 3 and then we put our second one in here to complete our flower petals. And then same thing like we did before, we will pull through all loops and chain 7. And then after I've chained 7, I'm going to find that next V stitch that we did from the row below, single crochet, and then chain 7 more. And now I can do the top of the petals for this last flower that we have in the cuff. And again, it's the same thing that we've been doing. We've got our triple crochet bobble stitch, pull through all those loops, chain 3, and put in our final triple crochet bobble stitch into this flower. And then we're going to take a look at where we are in the pattern. I am going to chain 7, and then once I have that complete, I'm going to put my single crochet into that V stitch from below. So let's go ahead and find that stitch. And then since we're at the end of our round, I'm going to chain 5 to finish off. So I'm going to get back up there with a chain 5. And then in that original chain 5 I did, I'm going to find the 5th chain. So I'm going to count, and then I'm going to slip stitch to there. And then I'm going to chain 5 again. These 2 rounds that we just completed together make up our first round of flowers. Now each flower round is made up of 2 rows, and there's going to be a 4-row repeat that we're going to follow until we reach the length of our sleeve. So we're going to go ahead and start that 4-row repeat, and you can follow along, and hopefully this makes sense. So that chain 5 turned my work. Now I've got these 2 chain space areas, and that tells me we're going to be placing a flower here. So I'm going to chain 5 as my first triple crochet, and then I'm going to start my flower here in that first chain of the chain 5 and do my 2 triple crochets to make that bobble stitch, but leave them incomplete. And then in these chain spaces, I'm going to do my 3 triple crochets, my incomplete ones, to leave them on the hook for my bobble stitches. So I've got that in the first chain space, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this in the second chain space. And this will be the base of our next row of flowers. And then when I have that, I'm going to pull through all the loops on my hook here, and then chain 5 more. So this is exactly like the flowers that we did in that first round. We're just going to repeat this same pattern, but I'm just going to show you what spaces to put everything in. So I'll finish that and then chain 1. In this space between my flower petals from the row below, I'm going to put another one of those triple crochet V stitches. So we have 1 triple crochet, a chain 3, and then another triple crochet. And then we're going to do another flower petal here. So it's a chain 5 and then begin our triple crochet bobble stitch. So we've got that first triple crochet into that first chain that we made, and then 1 more triple crochet into there. I will continue to leave those loops on the hook and find my chain 7 spaces from the previous round here and place my 3 triple crochet bobble stitch in here. And again, I will leave that stitch incomplete and leave those loops on my hook and move to the second chain space and place my final 3 triple crochet stitches into here. And then when I have all of those triple crochet stitches on my hook, I will pull my yarn through all of the loops on my hook, securing them all together, and then chain 5, and we'll be creating our last petal in this flower here. So that is the 2 triple crochet bobble stitch into the first chain of my chain 5, chain one, and then I'm going to find that place in between my two flower petals from the round below and place a triple crochet V-stitch. So that's a triple crochet, a chain 3, and another triple crochet. And now we'll do our final flower petal for this round. So again, like I have been doing before, we've got the chain 5, the 2 triple crochet stitches that we leave on our hook, and then in each of these chain spaces we are placing those 3 triple crochet bobble stitch in there, leaving them incomplete until we pull through all the loops on our hook when we have all 9 loops on our hook to pull through, and that just makes it so our flower has a really nice cohesive look. So then we pull through all of those loops, chain 5, and finish our last petal of the round with the 2 triple crochet stitches. Once we have those 2 triple crochet stitches complete, we will chain 1 and find that place in between the 2 flower petals from the round previous and put in our triple crochet V-stitch, that triple crochet, chain 3, and a triple crochet, and then chain 1, and we will find the place where we started this round. I'll count to the 5th chain from the starting chain 5 and place my hook into there and slip stitch through, chain 5 more, and then we are finished with this round, and this is what it should look like. So I've got that chain 5 completed for our next round here, and I will flip my work and begin working the other direction. So we've got this V stitch here, which means we are going to be chaining 5 more here and placing a single crochet in between this V-stitch and then chaining 7. And now we can start the top of our flowers for the round. I'm going to begin my triple crochet bobble stitch and then stick my hook through the center of the flower and do 3 triple crochet stitches, leave the top loops on my hook, and then once I have those 3 triple crochet stitches, I will pull through all the loops on the hook, chain 3, and then do my next flower petal here. So that's another triple crochet bobble stitch. Once I have that complete, I will chain 7, and then I will find that place where I have my next V stitch. Whoops, so chain 7, find that V stitch and do my single crochet, chain 7 more and repeat this pattern, and then I'll show you what the end of this round looks like. So keep doing that until you get all your petals done for the flowers in this round. Once I have my last petal complete in this round, I'm going to chain 1 and then find the 5th chain of my starting chain 5 and slip stitch to that chain. And then, like every row, we are going to chain 5 to begin and turn our work. Now we're going to be creating the petals that are offset from this round. So this will be the 3rd row of our 4-row repeat. We can see that our first 2 rows made those flowers slightly to the side, and now we're working on the flower right in front of myself. We just completed that one. So I know that I have a complete flower below this round, and that means I'm going to be working on the bottom of the flowers for this round. So I'm going to chain 1 and start off with my V-stitch because that goes into the top of every flower. That's the triple crochet, chain 3, and triple crochet. And then I will chain 5 to start out my first petal of the flower for this round. And then we put in our triple crochet bobble stitch. And we save that on our hook, we don't complete it, and then again in those chain 7 places we put our triple crochet bobble stitches with 3 triple crochets into each of those chain 7 spaces. And once we have all of those loops on our hook, again you'll have 9 loops on the hook, we can pull through all of them at once to create the center of our flower, and then chain 5 and do our last triple crochet bobble stitch to complete this flower. Once we have that complete, we will chain 1 to secure and find the top of the flower from the previous row and put in our triple crochet V-stitch. So we'll repeat this for this round and I'll show you how to complete it. I am just completing the last petal of this round here. So I did that chain 5 and I'm finishing this bobble stitch. And then I'll find the original chain 5 that I made to start the round, slip stitch to the 5th chain, and then I will chain 5 more to begin our next round. Now this is the 4th round in our 4-round repeat. I'm going to flip my work and now we're going to be working the tops of these flowers. Now I have this flower at the very beginning, so I'm just chaining 1. And I know it's off screen, I'm sorry about that camera shot there, but it's just like usual. I'm doing these triple crochet bobble stitches. We'll do our first one and then chain 3, and we will do our second one here now. And then once I have that first part of the flower complete, I'm going to chain 7. And then once I have my chain 7 here, I'm going to find that V stitch that we made from the previous row, and we will do our single crochet into that V stitch. Then we will chain 7 more and do the top of our next flower. We'll repeat this pattern until we get to the end, the top of the flowers, and then those chain 7s in between. I'll show you how to finish out this round when we get to it. Alright, so here I am just finishing out the last petal of the top of the flower here, chaining 7 and then finding that final V stitch in our round and single crochet into there. Then I will chain 5. I know I chained 7 here, but I take 2 of them out, so it's only a chain 5. And then you find your initial chain 5 and slip stitch to the top of that chain. And that is our 4-round repeat. I will chain 5 again and we are ready to begin where we began. So I've got the offsetting flowers here. We've got the one close to where our seam is. Those are the first 2 rounds, and then we have the other one, which are rounds 3 and 4. So we repeat this until we get to the length of our sleeve. The length of the sleeve is 16 rows, including those first 2 rows. So I just put a stitch marker there at the end of the 16th row. And then for the back part of this, we're going to be doing the same repeats, but instead of slip stitching to join when I reach where I began, I'll actually be making a triple crochet. So we kind of split apart the 2 parts, and then you work back and forth, continuing our row repeat, but not joining them. I'm going to continue on our 4-row repeat here, and then I'll show you what it looks like to not join the sides together. So I'm going to chain 5 like we have always begun these rows, and then I can see that I'm doing a flower stitch here, so I'm doing my chain 5 and then the triple crochet bobble stitches. So I'll just work those up and then I'm going to work up this round and show you what it looks like at the end. I have come to the end here where I'm just doing my last triple crochet V stitch. So I've got that triple crochet, the chain 3, and then the triple crochet. And instead of slip stitching to my original chain 5, I'm actually going to be placing another triple crochet stitch at the first chain of the beginning chain 5. And this is going to start our panel back and forth for the back. So instead of slip stitching to join, I'm making a triple crochet stitch here. I'm just going to mark this with a stitch marker just so I know where this begins. It does nothing other than just mark my place. Now we're going to do the rest of the rows like usual. So I'm going to chain 5 again, flip my work, and then continue on our 4-row repeat. So I know in this space here I need to chain 5 and then do my single crochet into the V stitch, chain 7, and then do the tops of my flowers. So when I come back to the end of this round, I'll show you what it looks like and then Set you loose. I'm just finishing my last petal in this row here, chain one to secure that, and then I can see I'm at the end. So I've got that initial chain five and then that extra chain five that I did, and I'm gonna find that fifth chain from the beginning chain five and do my triple crochet into that stitch. It'd be a little hard to get in there, so I'm just trying to find the place for my crochet hook and then do my triple crochet and chain five, turn my work and repeat as per usual. So after working that 4-row repeat after this split that we've made, I've got a total of 10 rows. So that's 5 flowers if you're counting flowers, 10 rows if you're counting rows. I'm going to chain one and secure this side. So I'll cut the yarn and pull that through. And I'm going to weave in my ends at this point. This is a nice pattern because you don't have that many ends to weave in. So I'll just take my darning needle here and thread it through, weave that in, and then weave in the end from the cuff. And then make 2 of these. So once you've got 2 of them, it is time to join the 2 sides together. So I've got the cuffs facing away from me, I've got the sleeves sort of opening towards me, and then this back that we're going to be joining together. Now these flowers are really nice because they kind of interlock, like they're offset from each other. So if you're doing the 10 rows for each of them, you'll get this same layout. And then I'm going to slip stitch my way back down the back side of this. I just think that the slip stitch join gives it a nice finish and it makes it secure. But if you want to go ahead and take a tapestry needle and just weave your ends in, that's cool. Or if you want to do some other sort of pattern to weave, by all means, go ahead and do that. This is the way I'm going to do it, so here it is. To slip stitch join these ends together, I've just got the yarn on my hook here, and then I put in my hook through each of these chains that we've made, maybe just like a loop on it, or I pick up 2 loops, it doesn't really matter. And I'll stick my hook through a loop on one side and a loop on the other side, and then I'll pull through my yarn through all of my loops. And so that's the type of join that I am doing, and I'll do that all the way down, and then I will secure my end, weave it in, and we'll be done. I just wanted to show you how I'm weaving in the end here to make sure that it's secure, just in case you didn't know how to do that. I'm just taking my yarn and going through my stitches back and forth, making sure to put my yarn through a new stitch every time, or else I'd be unsewing it. But yeah, I'm basically just weaving it back and forth. And then when I get to a certain point, maybe like an inch or 2 down, I'll weave back. And the weaving back is what is really securing this yarn in my garment, because if this comes loose, it's gonna have to go around all of these loops to like unwind completely and start tearing my garment apart. So that's how I weave in. You can weave in however you want to. This is just how I do it. And once you've got that done, go ahead and snip your yarn with the scissors, and that's it. You have a finished product, so time to wear it. I hope you had a great time watching my tutorial. If you liked it, please consider subscribing, checking out my website and Instagram for more fun projects, and happy crocheting!